want to thank everyone for coming, and this is actually it's in some ways a meaningful piece beyond what we're announcing today, and we're going to kind of explain that. But there's a lot that we want to talk about today, and there's a lot of folks behind me, so we're not going to try and make this go on forever, but there are some important things that we want to share with the community of Albuquerque and Bernalillo County in central New Mexico. And this is I think the next piece in what we have been talking about with respect to our homeless challenges. And in many ways, the associated challenges with that community, sometimes behavioral health, sometimes mental health, sometimes vouchers, housing, etc. This is another piece in our plan that we're working together with all of our partners on in how we have a different, stronger approach towards how we're dealing with homelessness in central New Mexico. And so I want to just introduce a few folks. Some of them are going to be talking, some are available for questions if you'd like. Primarily I want to mention, of course, our county manager, Julie Morgas-Baca. Thank you. More from her later. Also, we have a county commissioner here. We're going to hear from her in a minute. We also have city council we're going to hear from, our homeless advisory committee members, as well as the folks from UNMH and from the county and from the city. So let me begin really by saying that we know homelessness is a real harsh reality for many, many people in central New Mexico. And for a long time, I don't remember the exact numbers, we have operated this place, this of course is the old jail, as a homeless shelter. And I think in many ways, here's what it has really been. It has been a place where people can get out of the cold in the winter months and essentially not freeze. And to be honest, that has been really the fundamental purpose of this place. But we know, of course, that there is so much more that is needed. And the staff that runs this, which is, of course, the Heading Home program, and there's some folks from Heading Home, they do a tremendous job of trying to provide everything they can to the people that are here. But I think we also want to acknowledge how far we have to go. This is really just a place for people to sleep. There's often food available when possible, but usually there's not. It's often a few snacks and things like this. There are really no services available here. And these are part of the challenges that we're trying to address in many ways. I want to mention, of course, behind us, these are obviously bunks where homeless folks actually sleep for the night, and they'll be here tonight. And they left this morning. The shelter buses folks to and fro Albuquerque primarily through Coronado Park, and so we get a lot of questions about that dynamic. This is part of addressing that whole dynamic. Now, as I kind of unpack this, I just want to mention we're looking at dealing with this challenge from a city's perspective in a couple of ways. Number one is our partnership to actually try and replace this facility with a more centrally located facility that has all the support services from all the partners. We know that's going to take a while. We know we announced our MOU with UNMH and UNM to work together on that, and so we can work together with our healthcare providers on that and with the county's programs as well. We talked about that last time. That is the long-term vision. The problem is we need to get the funding starting this year. We need it from City Council, we need it from our state legislature, and we need it from our governor. And those are outstanding requests that are being discussed in real time. Now, that's going to take a while, even if we get all the funding that we need. And so we also have to do something more for our homeless population now, literally now, starting next month when this is supposed to close for the rest of the year. So thanks to City Council for the funding, and thanks to this partnership we're announcing today with Bernalillo County, we are going to be able to keep this open year-round until we have that longer-term solution. So this is a temporary fix, but it's a fix that I'm personally grateful for. This is such a good example of us as a community in central New Mexico trying to work together. And in this case, it's Bernalillo County. And so I want to say thank you to everyone from Bernalillo County, to the expertise that they provide through Katrina's division, also from the leadership with the council, and of course, primarily our county manager. This is a situation that we'll go through in terms of some funding they're providing, some services they're providing. Without their help, we could not keep this open. And I think perhaps most importantly for the people who actually sleep here at night, we are going to finally start to provide a tiny bit of services that we've been wanting to do for so long. And now, because of the county's help, we are actually able to do that. So this is in a big way an example of lots of cooperation between Albuquerque, the city, and the county of Bernalillo, but also in a special way, a way for us to demonstrate that we are in this together. And we're in this helping our homeless population, including our behavioral health community and our mental illness issues, all together with UNMH and with the county. And so this is a very, very important, I think, and special announcement for our city and for our community. And so with that, I want to tee up the woman who's been behind putting most of this together with us, and who we are so grateful for this memorandum of understanding that we're going to sign. To tell us more about it, our county manager, Julie Morges-Baca. Julie.
Thank you, Mayor Keller. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm proud to partner with the city on this very, very urgent and important initiative. So a few months ago, Mayor Keller came to talk to me and asked me if the county would consider partnering with them to fund the emergency housing center. And today I want to let you know that the county will be contributing $300,000 towards operating expenses for this facility. And it really wasn't a hard decision to make, but I want to make it really clear I could never do this without the support of our county commissioners. Without them, we wouldn't be able to say yes to this very important initiative. And I just wanted really quickly to recognize Katrina Holtram, our Behavioral Health Services Director. Thank you for all your work, Katrina. We appreciate it. So we see the shelter as a transition, a safe place where individuals experiencing homelessness have a safe place to get connected to services and resources that are available through our behavioral health initiative. So for us, this movement called the Behavioral Health Initiative started 5 years ago when our community made a desperate plea for help. At our commission meetings, we heard countless devastating stories and testimonies from family members who were at a loss when they didn't know what else to do. They didn't know where to go to for services. They needed to find the support that they desperately needed for themselves and their loved ones to get through this. So it was just time for us to try to figure out a way to remedy the situation. For a while we were failing these families, and we needed to step up to the plate and say, yes, this problem doesn't have boundaries. This isn't just their problem, but you know what? It's something that we needed to take seriously, and we absolutely are going to do this, and we're proud to partner with the city on this initiative. So these people are not going to fall through the cracks anymore. We're done with that. And by the mayor coming and talking to me about this and discussing, telling me how important it was, I got it. It really wasn't a hard decision to make. So thank you, Mayor. I'm elated to say that in the 4 years with our behavioral health initiative, we've launched about 18 programs, and which help seek help for those living with behavioral health conditions. So, and of the approximately $17 million that is generated each year, 95% of these dollars are going towards funding these critical services. So, I just have to say, we can't do any of this without our county commission. We can't do this without the city, the state, University of New Mexico hospitals, and all our community partners. Absolutely not. So one of our programs to reduce adverse childhood experiences, called the ACEs program, has served 10,767 families. So through our community connections housing programs, more than 175 individuals who were living on the streets and who were vulnerably housed, or who re-enter the community after being incarcerated, they're now in supportive housing. So they now have a place to go to. So the community engagement teams were launched last year, and I believe, Katrina, we received 420 referrals. to work with these teams comprised of a psychologist and a peer. And as part of our MOU, we have a team at this facility. We'll have a team at this facility. So these will be individuals connecting our very vulnerable population with who have behavioral health needs to clinical services, recovery, coping skills, and customizing the support to each individual client. Because it's just not the homeless, but they're individuals who have individual needs. We understand that. So our mobile crisis teams, another collaboration with the city of Albuquerque, is comprised of 4 teams that pair an officer or a deputy along with the master's level clinician, so they can responded to more than 1,000 mental health crisis calls across the city and the county. So the Resource Reentry Center, they are super, super, super busy. So as of 2 weeks ago, we've served 16,910 requests for services. So in terms of the shelter, an average of about 40% of these individuals who reside here report a mental health condition. We get that. That's where our behavioral health dollars should go to. So again, we know that we couldn't do this without our partners, and we're excited to embark on this new partnership and see the synergy. I can feel it. It's good. It's the right thing to do, and it's time that we step up and we work all together to collaborate on this very important initiative. And I'm just looking forward to all the great things that we're going to be doing, Mayor, with the city and with the state, our UNMH, and all our partners. So at this time, I'd like to invite Commissioner Piscotti, who is a professional in the behavioral health area in the field, and we are so fortunate to have her as one of our county commissioners, and she's already hit the ground running. So, Commissioner Piscotti.
Thank you, County Manager Julie Morgus-Baca, Albuquerque Mayor Tim Keller. Like our County Manager, I'm proud of Bernalillo County's team for forming this agreement and stepping up to provide these services. Our community deserves nothing less. Providing services for homeless and precariously housed individuals is an important gap to fill in the behavioral health continuum. 41% of residents who have stayed at the Westside Emergency Housing Center have a self-reported mental health condition. 23% report an alcohol or substance abuse condition. The Westside Emergency Housing Center houses families with children of all ages who would otherwise be sleeping on the streets. Suffering is not seasonal. Struggle doesn't take a vacation. Our compassion should be year-round, and our collaboration should be creative and cost-effective. Here is a reflection of problem-solving and innovative thinking by the county and the city that compassionately combines our resources to create positive change for our community. Take, for example, the portion of the MOU that describes how we're going to team up to get food to the shelter on Saturdays. First, we're going to request a quote from our vendor who provides meals at the Metropolitan Detention Center to supply 300 breakfast and lunch meals on Saturdays at the Emergency Housing Center. If all the numbers work out, then we'll add this to their contract with the vendor, and the city will pay us back for the additional expense. And then we'll bring the food up to the Emergency Housing Center. It isn't conventional, and it may seem small, but we look at every challenge as an opportunity to work together to create solutions, allowing us to tackle many of the major issues facing our community, like behavioral health and homelessness. We're honored to be a part of this announcement and of these services. Thank you.
So we should have a little fun. That's the commissioner's first ever press conference. So we're going to close with some thoughts from someone. It's not his first press conference. Our city councilor who has been a real champion for homelessness issues, and of course also represents UNM and UNMH. And we're grateful for council's efforts. Of course, a couple of weeks ago they passed the other side of this funding to enable this. And so, Councilor Pat Davis, thank you.
There's always too much speechifying at all of these, so I'm grateful that our new commissioner is not one of those to go on, so maybe I won't be either. But I will say, on behalf of all of the city council, a lot of our councilors are in Santa Fe today, and so I volunteered to come out and be sure that we help to make that case about why this is so important to taxpayers. You know, for a long time, we all know, and we shouldn't hide from the fact that for a long time we've spent a lot of time pointing fingers at each other and transferring this problem from one side of the street to the other, or asking Santa Fe to solve our local issues. And it really was citizens and residents of our county and the city who stepped up a few years ago, as the county manager mentioned, and said, you know what, we're tired of waiting on somebody else. We're taking care of this on our own. We're going to tax ourselves. We're going to give ourselves the resources to help families who need help. And we're willing to pay a little more to know that our family and our community is safer. But we've still been piecemealing and pilot projecting our way through this problem for a few years. But this is really a game changer in terms of the way we address this issue across government lines. We're partnering by saying we have a facility and we have staff that want to do this work. And the county has expertise and experience working in the behavioral health field that helps us resolve some of those wraparound issues, so that the city's solution is not just a place to stay at night, but it really does start to be a place where you can access the services that the commissioner talked about and how important that is. And I'll tell you, from those of us, all of you, news folks and others, folks who work in our city and in the county, you know, we are having a game changer from streets to shelter in terms of the way we're dealing with homelessness and the way we're addressing these wraparound issues, and we're starting to see that impact. You know, our jail population is lower now than it was a year ago. Our crime is down while jail is still down, and the people using and accessing services are up. Those three data points are not isolated. They're interrelated, because the more we spend time on the front end together collaboratively with the county's community engagement folks and our city parks in Southeast, that's fewer people that end up in MDC in crisis. And the more people we provide services to through places like this that are safe, where they feel safe, unfortunately, having to bring their children sometimes, gives us an opportunity to help reset their lives in a way that's helpful. And so this, as the mayor and as Ms. Baca and the commissioner said, this is a big deal in the big picture of how much the government spends on issues, and even on this issue. It seems like a drop in the bucket, but the idea that we work together on this, that we're investing together in this, that we are investing in our staff and the community and the folks who run facilities like this, some of whom have lived here, who got jobs here, who gave back to their own community and still struggle. We're not done yet, but we're going to keep working on it. But it's a huge, big step for us, and the collaboration here is something that doesn't get seen very often in government, and I'm really proud to say that we're doing that probably better than any other community in the country that we've seen in terms of collaboration. From the university, from the hospital, from the county and the city, there are no more finger pointing. We're all out there together doing that work, and it makes a big deal. So thank you to all of our partners, and particularly to our staff who does all this work, who doesn't get to speak much, but they spend their nights here, they spend their days in our parks, they spend their days in our alleys looking for people, and now we're not running them off. We're offering them services and housing. And that makes a big difference. And so we want to say thank you to you all for doing that as well. Thanks. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, we are going to wrap this up with a signing of our MOU together here with the city and the county. And then if folks have questions, you can get us individually. Let me mention, I think, one last thing. You know, I spent an evening out here, might have been about 2 months ago now, and you realize a lot of things in an experience like that. But one is just that the spectrum of homelessness is truly a spectrum. Whether it's folks on one end with mental illness, behavioral health challenges, or there is still a segment that is on hard times. And there's everything in between. And it's the same thing as we mentioned with families and children. You know, because the belongings here are private property of these individuals, we don't usually show those rooms, but I've seen them. And we literally have families with young kids living here who were celebrating Christmas when I was here. So this is a very, very important place in people's lives. And I'm just glad to say that I think our community in central New Mexico, what we're doing is we're saying, all right, we're all in this together, and we're all going to bring our particular expertise. So at the city, we're going to work on things like this, but the county's going to help. The county's going to work on the behavioral health side and so forth with UNM, and the city's there to help. That's how we're doing this. We're all wearing sort of the hat that makes the most sense for us, and then we're working together. And so I want to thank everyone who's a part of that today. And with that, let's celebrate our Memorandum of Understanding. Sarita, you want to, for fun, just...
Sure.
You can keep the pen.
The city gave her that right.
They did. It's the bill signing thing. Marty's were a lot nicer.